I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I heard one of the district attorneys that was on stage talking about prosecutors, and they were talking about how that trafficking is a psychological crime. And I had never heard that before, and I thought it made a lot of sense. It is, because it's right. These traffickers, especially right now, we have a new saying that at the Value One, that trafficking doesn't start with kidnapping; it starts with a text message or a message, and that's so true now. These traffickers are so technologically advanced that they they're on every website, they're on every internet platform, they're on all these gaming platforms, social media, and they are looking to exploit any little thing that someone puts out there. And so it becomes very in depth, and that's a challenge for anybody when they're trying to investigate these.
Right. It's not like it used to be, where they would have to look for opportunities.
Sure.
And take months to groom and to create the opportunity. Now they can sit behind a screen on a keyboard and create multiple opportunities all at the same time. And with the rise in artificial intelligence, that they can really lean into that to create their personas and their scripting, it's hard to keep up with the changing landscape, for sure.
Excuse me, it is. And one of the things that we see happening all the time, and I'm sure you see it here as well, but one of the things we see happening all the time is the fact that they never come at you as who you picture in your mind as a trafficker.
Right.
When you're online as a 12, 13, 14-year-old child playing Roblox or whatever gaming system you're playing, you're not going to get approached at someone that's some 30, 40-year-old person that's they're going to be on that profile, they're going to be your same age, they're going to look like you, they're going to talk like you, and that's what they use. And just where AI and things like that, these generated photos that they put on their profiles, all these things come together, but that's how they go after you. And like you said, now it's not like they're on the streets as much. They're hidden, and that makes it harder for law enforcement to find them. They hide behind IP addresses, they hide behind the computer, and that makes it more challenging for law enforcement to find them.
Absolutely. And I know at our awareness event that we had last month, the Devin Tucker, who's a survivor advocate, was talking about, and I'd never heard the term non-responders.
Yeah.
That there's people that are online just studying, not responding to posts, not responding, but just taking information and studying. And when the time is right, that's when they enter in. They'll slip into a DM, or they'll connect on a gaming platform, already knowing probably what school they go to, the struggles that they have at home, maybe bullying at school, and they use all of that information. And so just helping our young people be aware of what they're actually putting out online.
Well, when I meet with teenagers and do these like safety training classes, one of the things I like to do always is, it's kind of a fun activity, but is I say, okay, who's willing to tell me your social media name or profile or whatever? And there's always a couple that'll let me do it. So I'll get on my Facebook, and I'm obviously never friends with these people or are friends with these kids on Facebook, and so I'll look them up, and then I start going through their Facebook, what's publicly in the profile, and I can say, oh, well, you go to this high school, and oh, you play this sport, and oh, you do this and this, and it just opens their mind up to start thinking about. Obviously, the traffickers can do the exact same thing I'm doing if your privacy settings are not set properly and you're posting these things. And I'm not telling. One thing I refuse to do is let traffickers control our lives.
Right.
But we have to also be safe about it.
Smart.
So I'm not telling people not to put things on social media and not to have a life and be able to enjoy it. But, you should be thinking about these things, because if I post my picture in my basketball uniform from my high school, well, you just told that trafficker a lot of information. You told him what high school you attend. And one thing a lot of people don't think about is you also give him your schedule, because school sports their schedules are public. Times they practice, things like that. When you have games, all that stuff is very public. So not only did you just give them where you go to school and what one of the activities in your life, but you also give them your schedule for that time frame, which gives them more ability to find you. So those are the type things that we really try to get into their minds to think about.
It would be interesting to get their parents more like their mother's social media and go to her page.
Oh yeah.
And probably be able to identify a lot of things about her kids that they maybe haven't posted, but it was this prom season, and
right.
So I know on my social media, going through and seeing all my friends posting pictures from the different high schools, proms, and like on Instagram tagging their kids in it, and so lots of information out there. So it's just being aware and having conversations.
Yeah, and again, I don't say that to tell people. Like when I have those conversations, I always adults or children in the room go, well, I'm going home and delete my social media, and that's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm not saying you got to live in a 4x4 room and never go outside.
Right.
That's not how we should live anyway. But I do think you should be very careful and know what you're doing. And we always talk about don't put your feelings on social media because that's what they exploit. They look for those. I was listening just a story yesterday about this young girl that was trafficked, and she was a 12-year-old girl, and she was. Had made this friend on social media, and they'd been talking for 3 or 4 months, and nothing. Just 3 or 4 months, just talking back and forth. Girl her own age, so she thought. And one day she got on social media and posted that her and her mom have had a huge fight, and that was what the trafficker was looking for. And that very moment they messaged her, convinced her to go and meet him somewhere to take him on vacation, yada yada. And of course, we all know the end result of that, what happens. But so we always don't put your feelings on there. Try to make sure you're being very careful. And for heaven's sakes, if you don't know somebody, don't accept their friend request and allow them into your social media.
Right. If you don't know them in real life, like in person.
If you have never met them in person, you should not have them on your social media page.
Right. It's I'm going to be 60 here in just a few weeks, and I think about what it was like growing up before smartphones and before internet, and so the digital landscape has really changed the way that we view all of this. And so educating, equipping, empowering this next generation is going to be so important. And then also equipping caregivers to know the crucial conversations that they need to be having.
That's right. And what we were talking a minute ago about this law enforcement program that we're working on here, some of this kind of plays into that, because one of the other things that I think is a challenge across North Carolina is there's not a big centralized area where the trafficking information is flowing into that can be looked at and investigated and then put back out to the proper agencies around the state. And so that's one thing that we're hoping to be able to do is to have this information center to where we're bringing this information in from all walks, nonprofit, law enforcement, school systems, whatever that might look like, putting that information in a single place, dissecting that information, and then pushing out stuff from that. So that's an important part that we think will help the proactivity of law enforcement in the future.
Well, it sounds like there's some great things ahead and great things that you're working on. If somebody really wanted to help come alongside, how could they help organizations like the Value of One?
Well, I'm always going to say this, first and foremost, is write our name down and make sure it's on your prayer list. That's very important to us that people are praying for our organization and the people and praying for the ones out there that we're trying to go after and find. But they can also then go to our website, thevalueone.org, and they can partner. There's a volunteer link there. They can meet up with us. They can message us on social media, The Value One, on Facebook and Instagram. We have our own podcast. We are just kind of getting started with that, so it's not a lot on that yet, but we do have a couple episodes out. It's on Apple and Spotify. And so you can keep up with us that way, and you can sign up for our newsletters. And we are always looking for volunteers. There's plenty of work to go around.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why when we started it, like I said earlier, that we're going to partner with people. It's not about the Value One. It's not about me. It's about two things. It's about making sure these victims have an advocate that's got a voice for them. And, if you're someone out there that's involved in this or listening to this podcast today, knowing that I may not know who you are or where you are at the moment, but there's people like yourself and myself and other people in these organizations that care about you and are trying their best to find you and give you an opportunity to get out. And then thirdly, of course, that the Lord can be applied into their life somehow.